Welcome back to Gaz's Koi Pond. In my last video I was speaking about one of my fish which I suspected being a little bit under the weather and looking a bit thin. Well, this morning I didn't want to bother you all again with another balling up of fish, but I did get a chance to have a quick look at him. Now he's just down there, that particular fish there, and it looks as if it's got a little bit of a graze of some kind of mark on its side. Now, looking at how the actual fish in itself is behaving, it is slightly clamped on its fins. They're not as, sticking out as much as the other fish. So I thought, well, I'll do a couple of scrapes. So I took out 3 fish and scraped them. None of the 3 fish that were out last time, 3 totally separate different ones. One of which is the fish with the white film all over its body. This particular fish in question, but I also did the Yamabuki there, the Ogon. Just purely because it also looks like it's got a little mark on its side, but after further inspection and having a look at that, it looks like that's actually caught itself on something and just got a bit of a raised lump on its scales. So the fish that I was talking about is flashing now and again, and it also looks as if it's perhaps maybe got a little bit, I'm thinking perhaps maybe a bit of parasite. Now I couldn't find anything, but just because I didn't find anything doesn't necessarily mean that there isn't something wrong. So I thought, well, what can I do? I can give it some treatment. That's what I can do, and it's not going to do any of the other fish any harm if they receive some treatment within the water as well. So I went to my local koi dealers and picked myself up some FMG. 1, because it's anti-parasite. 2, anti-fungus treatment. It's treating for white spot, trichidina, costia, and I'm not so sure how to pronounce the last one, so I'll let you guys read that for yourself. But the idea is, just because I didn't spot any parasites doesn't mean that there isn't none. The white film or build-up of extra mucus is an indication to costia, that from what research I've been doing. So as you can see, we have a bucket of pond water with the mixture of FMG in, and once we put this in, we're not going to be able to see the fish for 2 to 3 days. And it says to switch off the ultraviolet, so we're going to pop this in and we're going to see if we can get this fish, because the fish that I was concerned about, obviously the one that's got that white fungus growing on it is one I'm concerned about, but the other fish that I'm concerned about, the one that looks to have lost a little bit of weight, I'm thinking maybe has caught itself and looks like it's got a little bit of an ulcer, but nothing that's actually turned into an open sore as of yet. So if it's a fungal infection, this treatment should cure that up. If it is also perhaps maybe parasites for any of the other fish, it'll clear them up as well. So I'm going to stick the phone on the tripod and get this treatment in, turn the water all nice and blue, and then switch the UV off. In fact, I shall switch the UV off now, and then we'll get this treatment in. So I'll show you what it's like again in a second. Let's get you on a tripod. There you go guys, as you can see, very blue, very medicated. Fingers crossed when we come out on the other side of this, maybe we should have some fish. That's looking as bad as that particular one is, and the other one. Another thing worth mentioning guys, this bucket that I use there, one FMG, I think it's called Malachite Blue, and formalin, or formalin I think it is, but I only use this bucket. This bucket is used just purely for any form of pond treatments, nothing else. That bucket's used for nothing else other than this pond. So if you're going to do something and you're going to use any of this kind of stuff, one, it doesn't wash out, it stains your, as you can see, it stains your fingertips, so it's very strong. If you get it on your clothing, you can see there, only a tiny little splash, but it does stain. If you get it on any clothing, it's going to stain it. And you know, any buckets like this, it does stain the buckets, but I have used it before in the past. As you can see, this bucket's had many a treatment in it before, but it's well worth making sure that you're not going to be using anything that you want to keep in tip-top condition, so don't be getting shouted at by your other half, your better half, partners, whichever, because you'll only end up in trouble if you turn something blue and stain it and dye it. So there we go. I'm not going to be able to see these fish for a couple of days or so until this runs through the system, but if there's anything in there, any parasites or any nasties, we should take care of them, and we should make sure that if there is any bacterial infection, fungus wise, on those two fish, it should cure that up as well. So fingers crossed. I shall let you know. This is Monday evening, Monday the 30th. 7 days before we need to treat again, should we need to treat again. But let's see what's like in a day or two, and I'll keep you informed. Just another little bit of information for you guys. Whenever you are doing any form of treatments, like we've said there about, you know, making sure that you only use one bucket for all your treatments, once the treatment goes into your water, you must always make sure that you've got plenty of oxygen. So if you've got an extra air pump, or you've got your oxygen supply slightly turned down, put it up to full blast, make sure that you're getting plenty of air in there, because some treatments that are out there, not all, but some do specify that you may be losing oxygen levels within your water whilst ever the treatment's in there. So mine's always on at full, but you know, just in case, just to make sure that you also do the same if you're going to put in any form of treatments. Right, just a little bit of extra information for you. As you've just seen there in the video, I've just added some FMG to the pond. But what I want you all to make sure of, obviously, is if you're actually going to do any form of treatments yourself, you make sure you know the literage or the gallons that you've got of water in your ponds, and you mix the ratios as according to the instructions on the actual product that you're using. Don't go off on anybody else's literage or anybody else's amounts that they say. You must make sure that you work out how much water you've got in your pond. You can use any pond calculator on Google and type in your sizes, lengths, width and depth, and that will give you a literage or gallonage, and then make sure that you mix up any of your treatments according to those findings. Like I say, always be careful. And there's another little side note: the reason why I use that one bucket and that one bucket only is that that bucket is purely for my pond for treatments. Then I'm not using anything else or cross-contaminating in anything, or, you know, for example, my tropical fish tank, if I was going to be using any kind of treatments in there and I use the same bucket and it still had some trace elements of the FMG in there, who's to say that it's not going to cause any further problems or perhaps kill any of my other tropical fish? So always make sure that you've got an individual treatment bucket, vessel, whatever you want to class it as, and use that one particular thing for that one particular pond, and always, you know, never cross use of anything else like that, and that way then you know you're going to be safe. Fingers crossed guys. I'm only trying to do this just to make sure that I give that fish the best possible chance. It's slightly looking worse than what it did, and I'm thinking more of a bacterial infection or fungal infection. It certainly looks to have a little bit of fungus growing on its surface of its skin. Now, if it's obviously not feeling too good, it's getting beaten to the food. If it's been getting beaten to the food for a couple of weeks, then obviously that's going to cause some weight loss. So I need to see if we can get it feeling better in itself, a little bit more active, and then obviously fingers crossed it'll put that weight back on again, and I'll try to see if I can get some extra food to that one individual fish if possible, by separating a couple of areas when I'm feeding, perhaps maybe for the bulk of them, and try and leave a little bit to the sides of the opposite side of the pond, so that other fish that come up and feed a little bit slower can manage to pick up some food as well. So that's the plan. That's what I'm going to try and give it a go at. That's what I'm going to try to do. As for now, the treatment's in. Give it 7 days and have another look at the fish. Obviously I don't want to be disturbing them too much, and as I stated the other day about netting your fish and getting your fish out, my fish aren't all that particularly bothered about it. I've had the netting again today. They've been coming straight back to the side to respond to me, but that doesn't mean that yours will act the same. So always go by what you've got and what works best for yourselves. I've worked a lot with my fish to get them as tame as what they are, and I think they're a lot more comfortable around me than what some people's were if they don't bother with them on a regular basis like I do. That said, for now, this is just a little short one just to explain what I'm doing, and I'll give you an update come the weekend. So catch you all soon. If you've enjoyed what you've seen, like, share, tell a friend. Don't forget to click subscribe, and I'll catch you all in the next one, guys. See you soon. Take care.